Hello, everyone. So to the people in this room and to the millions watching from home, I want to welcome you to the award ceremony of the 5th Student Cluster Competition done together between the HPC Advisory Council at ISC. And just to give the first talk of, or the first sentences of opening the ceremony, I'd like to invite Thomas from ISC to give some words.
Thank you, Gilad. Thank you, Gilad. So welcome everybody to the 5th anniversary of the Student Cluster Competition. And this is a great, wonderful, and international competition that brings together teams of gifted, innovative young people from all over the world. And we are now in our 5th year. And this is one of the highlights of our conference, truly. So it's a prestigious competition, and the prestige attached to the Student Cluster Awards, which has grown considerably over the last couple of years, is reflected now in this award ceremony taking place just before the keynote, and with both events, so the award ceremony and the keynote being streamed live on the internet. Okay, I'd like to thank all the students for their great efforts and commitment on the show floor, who have done, again, a very great job. It was fantastic to see them all. And I also like to recognize our friends from the HPC Advisory Council, who have, again, worked tirelessly behind the scenes and who have organized and run this great competition. So thank them and giving them a well-earned round of applause. All right, and with this, I'd like to hand over to Gilad, who will guide us through this award ceremony and announce the winning teams. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Thomas. And without the support from Thomas and Martin and the rest of the ISC team, we wouldn't be able to pull this kind of great thing. So again, thank you very much, the ISC team. As Thomas said, this ceremony is being broadcast live. So for all the students, if you didn't call your family, that's the right time to do it. So first, I need to start with a thank you to the amazing team that worked very hard throughout the year to make this happen. To the outreach and coverage from Dan and Kim and Rich that helps to promote this competition. In this competition, we help to foster the next generations of high-performance professionals and researchers, and we want to continue to do that in the future. We think it's a great and important thing for the HPC community. I want to thank the committee and judges for going and talking with the teams and making the interviews and helping us to rank the team according to their achievement throughout the competition. Of course, the team advisors and affiliates. I want to thank all the sponsors that help the students to build their systems and to innovate not just on ability to run and software, but also on the hardware side. I think it's the first competition that we had a mix of architectures as part of the system that the student built, which include x86, Power, and ARM, and GPUs. So it was very interesting to see the mixing of architectures that the student brought here. Again, to thank the ISC group, CubicWorks for their help in building the area of the student cluster competitions, to the students, volunteers, and again, thank you all here for participating in the award ceremony. And then very special thanks to the two guys that worked very hard to manage the competition here, to David and to the person that I call the king of the competition, Tupac. Thank you very much, guys. So it's the 5th student cluster competition. Again, it's enabled people to, students to bring HPC knowledge into the universities and bring to the HPC community a new generation of people. And we're going to continue doing that with the support of ISC in the next years. This year we had 12 teams. It came from different, it kind of moves automatically, that came from different countries, and it was amazing to see a mix of groups, mix of universities. I'm going to call out team by team, and as I call the team, please come up on stage. By just participating in this competition, you actually won. You were able to build systems, run systems, compete against other teams. You did an amazing job, guys. So just by coming here and participating, and I hope you had some time in the evening to go and drink some beer around here, you already won. So we're going to call team by team. Mr. Olds is going to join me on stage and going to help to provide some commentary on each of the team. So please go up on stage, receive your award, and then I'll be very happy if you can stand in front of the stage and we'll see all the groups here. So the first team, all the way from South Africa, CHPC.
Interesting thing about Team South Africa is that every year the team is completely different. They have a in-country small cluster qualification where they pick the team, so none of these kids have had any experience in this at all. They're also the first team to have won in the Grand Championship in both of the two years that they competed. Impressive.
Yeah. The second team, mixed team from Purdue and University of Colorado.
Anybody who follows the student cluster competitions will recognize these teams. Purdue and Colorado were the very first teams to compete at a cluster competition at SC in 2007, and between them, they've competed in more competitions than probably the rest of the field combined. They've been great supporters of the program, the universities and the students.
And the next team, Nanyang from China. Sorry, from Singapore, my fault.
Singapore.
Yeah.
Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore. Sorry.
Excuse me. One of the great things about Singapore, best matching jackets I've ever seen in a cluster competition. And that includes many cluster competitions. Good-looking bunch of kids, starting to become a power in student clustering. Expect to see them up on this podium for other reasons and awards in the future. Thank you.
The next team, the team from Nersk.
As Team Nersk makes their way up here, you'll notice one thing they all have in common. They're not incredibly tall. No, this is the first all-female team to ever compete at an ISC competition and the third all-female team to ever compete in any student cluster competition. So that's great. Also, more stuffed animals per capita than almost any team ever to compete. It's true.
Okay. And the next team, USTC, this time from China.
This is USTC's fourth major competition. This is a team that I think is ready to break through into the next level. They've always been like in that third and a half place, and they work hard. They've got great sponsorship now. Huawei's their sponsor, and I think that we're going to start seeing them on the winner's podium a little bit more too.
And the next team, the team from Hamburg.
Team Hamburg can be summed up with 2 nodes, 8 K80 GPUs. They know how to bring the power. They know what they're after. This is their 3rd time competing, and they're just getting better and better over time.
Next team, Tsinghua University from China.
Again, this is a team for all of you that follow the student cluster competitions like you'd follow something very vital and important in your life. You know Team Tsinghua. They've been awarded many first-place finishes, and they're the only team to ever win all 3 major competitions, which is the USSC competition, the Asia Student Cluster competition, and the ISC competition in the same calendar year. I don't know if we'll ever see the likes of that again.
Next team, University of Tartu.
What could we say about Tartu? They're not perhaps the luckiest team in the world, but they are the toughest team in the world. Last year, their power supplies didn't get shipped, so they had to go out and strip Frankfurt of every available PC power supply. In making their own cables for those power supplies, somebody cut their finger pretty badly. It's the first cluster in a competition to be fueled by human blood. This year, speaking of bleeding a little bit, they were on the bleeding edge. They're the first team to use an IBM Power 8 system in a cluster competition. And when you're on the bleeding edge, you're going to get cut a little bit. They've been through it, but they didn't stop. They didn't give up. They didn't even slow down. So they deserve a huge round of applause.
Next team is Boston Green Team.
Boston has made a name for themselves as a team that thinks outside the box in a lot of ways. Number one, they usually come in with some sort of a cluster that's a little bit strange. You look at their initial proposals, and they're talking about using MPI on everything from Xeon clusters, AMD clusters, to garage door openers. But they usually show up with something kind of interesting, and they did this year too with having the other ARM system in here, but they gave it a little spice with adding 8 Jetsons to it. So a very interesting design.
The next team, the team from UPC.
Team Spain, first team to bring ARM processors to a cluster competition. They did more than double down on it this year. The cluster that they brought is fueled by Cavium ARM Thunderbolt processors, more than 800 ARM cores on it, and if that weren't enough to break some boundaries, it's liquid cooled. Nice job.
Yeah. The next team, Hast.
Hast got here in an unusual way. One of the things that they do at the China Student Cluster Competition, the first 2 Chinese teams finishing get their ticket punched to come to ISC to play for the championship. Hast won that competition. That was with 16 teams in one room, clustering themselves senseless. Good job, Hast.
And a team from Shanghai University.
Shanghai is another school that I think is on the cusp of going into what we would call the cluster competition elite. They've notched a lot of second and third place finishes, and I think that they're destined for greater things in this game. Those of you people wagering at home should take note of that advice. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, a little fast.
Tough route.
So one thing, as I think Dan mentioned, is that the student needs to deal with unexpected issues that happens. Here we have a presentation that runs on automatic forward. So we are facing now some unexpected challenge that we need to deal with. So we'll see how we're going to cope with it. So I want to thank all the team. Congratulations, guys, from being there. You did a great job. Thank you very much. So now we're going to move to provide special awards. And we have 5 awards. The first award is going to go for the fan favorite, the team that got the most votes from ISC attendees and maybe from the families from home. So that will be the first one. The second one will give an award for the highest impact number. And I'm happy to tell you that for the 3rd or 4th consecutive time, the impact number was broken again. And actually 2 teams achieved or managed to break the impact number from last year. And one of them, of course, is going to receive the impact award. And then we'll give 3 awards for the 3 groups that did the most from their system, measuring by application performance. And we'll move forward. So starting with the award winners. And the winner for fan favorite, the team from Barcelona. Yeah. You should stand next to them when I take a picture. So the next one is the Limpak award, and I said there are 2 teams that broke the Limpak number and achieved more than 12 teraflops of performance. The group that achieved the highest number of Limpak under 3 kilowatts of power budget is a team from Haast. So now we're moving to the 3 awards for the teams that did the best scores on the application performance. So looking at all the points together, including the interview, the 3rd place overall winner goes to SJ2U.
Thank you. You did a good job. Thank you.
And the 2nd place winner goes to a very strong and tough team, Tsinghua University. And to give the first place award, I'd like to invite Thomas Sterling on stage. So the team that won the first place, it's definitely a strong team. I hope you guys that you brought the flag with you. That's the team from CHPC.
So it is my privilege and my honor to give the winning team, #1 team, this, but I have to say this is extraordinary. Last year, I used to say, you know, that those South African teams, they're pretty good. They came in second the year before, but then, of course, they came in first the 2 times before this. This is an unbelievable performance. Please give them an extraordinary round of applause.
So again, I want to thank all the teams here, guys. I think you did a great job, any one of you. I do hope that we'll see you or teams from your universities in the competition of next year. Thank you very much.